G'day and welcome to the channel. My name is Chris and thank you so much for joining me on this solo overnight camp in Ngunnawal Country. I acknowledge the Ngunnawal people as the original owners of the land that I was visiting, and I celebrate their stories, their traditions and their culture. I'd also like to acknowledge any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who may be watching. I love getting out and about. Whether it's hiking or camping or just walking around some neighbourhood or other, I love getting out in the fresh air and taking in the world. And this short little trip took me down to Mount Clear in the Namadgi National Park. The ACT has designated campgrounds, so you can't just camp anywhere you like, but Mount Clear is right down the southernmost point of the ACT, and I pretty much had the whole place to myself. It was just a quick overnight trip, and I had my car, which meant I could take along a few of the luxuries that you usually have to forget when you're hiking. The biggest luxury, of course, was having the swag and being able to set it up on a ground sheet with a tarp shelter. I'm not into making things hard for myself, and seriously, who wants to pack up a wet, muddy swag if they can avoid it? The swag I'm currently using is a 23-0 1100, and it's a cracker. Plenty of room inside so I can store some stuff if I need to, and it has a really good mattress too, so I was basically glamping really. And when I have a tarp like this, I can leave the swag open with just the mozzie net, which is great. The kangaroos come right up to the camp as soon as you settle in at Mount Clear, so leaving the swag open means you can say hello. There was supposed to be a fair bit of rain, but it never came, but there was a cracking dew that settled in, so the tarp came in pretty handy. It's 4 metres by 4 metres and I got it from DD Hammocks. It's pretty big, but it's a great bit of gear. I've been out in belting rain in this thing and not a drop gets through. I also have the 3x3 version, and that's just as good. But that's it for my camp setup. Pretty basic, but it's super comfy. You're not allowed to gather firewood in the ACT National Park, so you don't upset the local habitat too much. So you have to bring the wood with you if you want to have a fire. Another good thing about having the car. It's been wet as all buggery for months right across southeastern Australia. So even the wood I brought with me was tricky to fire up, but I got there in the end. Glad I wasn't using one of those bloody ferro rods though. Dinner was pretty simple. I just knocked up a Turkish roll and toasted over the coals. Very easy and very tasty. The one total luxury of having the car is that I can bring a coffee percolator. I basically live on water and coffee, so I'm a much happier bloke when I can knock up a good brew, and this little pot does the trick every time. After dinner I did some journaling and read for a little while before turning in for the night. The rain never came and I slept like a log. As usual, my body clock woke me up well before dawn, but it was nice to be able to just lie there and listen to the world slowly come to life. For brekkie, I knocked up some muesli and brewed up another coffee before setting off on a short hike. I actually didn't have much time before I had to head back home, but I did want to go out for an hour or so on an off-track hike up towards the mountain. Naas Creek runs right through this area, and I kind of just followed it along for a couple of kilometres. There were plenty of eastern grey kangaroos and swamp wallabies and redneck wallabies to keep me company along the way. While I was down there, I heard a few kookaburras a couple of times, and there were a few currawongs and magpies and things floating around, but there weren't too many other birds, which is a real shame. The whole place is still coming back after the shitty fires that ripped through here a couple of years ago, so hopefully the bird life is not too far away. It's not as hilly in this part of the national park, with lots of wide sweeping meadows surrounded by a eucalypt forest leading up into the mountains in the distance. It makes it really easy to get out and about and go for a lazy wander around in the Aussie bush. The great thing about a swag camp is it really only takes about 15 minutes to break it all down and pack it all up. Everything was soaked with the 100% humidity and the massive dew that we had, so I basically had to rebuild the camp when I got home to dry it all out, but it was well worth it. Thanks for joining me on this trip, and I hope to see you out and about again sometime.